This is Jenny. I believe this is a female caller. Hello, Jenny. You're up next.
Hey Bart, how are you?
How's it going? And we always welcome female callers because I think it adds an extra, there's a different dynamic when you're a woman at the table, obviously, because it's such a minority. I mean, it's probably I don't know, maybe could be like in the single digits in terms of no limit players. You do see more women
Right.
in limit poker, but in terms of no limit, for sure. So, where's this hand played out of, Jenny?
This played out of MGM Grand at Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, MGM at Las Vegas, which is a room that you don't really hear that much about because they don't really play a ton of big games. Do they get 2-5 there at all?
Yes, they get 2-5, but because the 1-2 is match the stack, it gets so crazy.
Oh, they have a match
That
that they do 1-2 match the stack there? Wow.
Yep,
I
yeah,
didn't
they
know
just
that.
started that last year.
Oh, because I remember in Vegas, historically, like the 1-2 game at the Golden Nugget downtown is uncapped, and that was the only one where you'd hear about that. I did not know they did one. That's a good idea. 1-2 match the stack. Yeah,
Yeah.
then there's probably no reason really to have 2-5 then, right? If that's the only room in town that does it like that.
hmm
Yeah. Okay, so is
Yeah, I
this
can
one
get
two?
going, but usually it's 1-2 that gets all the games.
So 1-2, Las Vegas. I used to know a floor lady over there. That what the hell was her name? This little short woman with glasses. Damn. Oh well. Can't. Sharon, something like that. I did know a
hmm
floor lady there, but the name is escaping me. All right, so this is 1-2 match of stack in MGM Las Vegas. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. So take us through it, Jenny.
Okay, so yeah, so yeah, of course. So 1-2, so pre-flop. I'm in the big blind. I have pocket seven, seven diamonds, seven of clubs.
Okay.
I'm about 700 effective.
Okay.
And I bought in for 300. I've built up a stack. I've been playing about 4 hours now. Um, so pocket sevens. And then I'm in the big blind. So then it folds down to the middle position plus two. He limps. And then cutoff limps as well. And then the button folds. And then small blind gets out of the way, or he doesn't want to call the extra dollar. And
Okay.
then my plans were to actually to do the over limp and to set mine and flop a set and go from there, because this table dynamic has just been super passive, like where everyone will limp and then you bet 25, everyone will just call you from their $2 bet to 25 and up to, like, I've seen up to 40. So super passive table. And then can I give like the background of the middle position plus two and the cutoff?
Very briefly.
Okay. So very briefly, so MP plus two. I've played with him since I started playing at the table. He has been just super tight. VPIP, I'd say about 5% from the time that I've sat down till now for 4 hours. And cutoff, he just sat down like 30 minutes ago, but he's actually played more hands than the guy to the right of him, which is MP plus two. So yeah, so that's just the background. Both are MP plus two is a Asian gentleman, mid 30s, and then cutoff is probably like someone more retired, older gentleman. Um, so yeah, it goes limp limp, and then I just limp. I check my big blind. So flop comes king 10 7 rainbow.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. So King 10-7 Rainbow. So I don't mind what you're saying about your pre-flop plan, especially if more than two people limped. So, it would kind of be like the equivalent of you over limping, like in late position. 7-7 gets a little bit close. I think with only two people limping, your hand, I would probably raise here. and I might check. I mean, this is very subtle. People make fun of me for these very subtle things. I might check like sixes or below, and I probably would raise with sevens against two limps. I just think that you're probably losing out on a little bit too much value if these guys are V-pipping. Whereas if three or more people limped, I would check along. Again, it's something very subtle, but okay, so you check your options, so the pot's not that big, and now you flop bottom set, right, on King 10-3? Or King 10-7.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
All right, cool.
Rainbow.
Yep.
Okay. So then I flop bottom set.
Yep.
I check my plan of check raising. MP plus two now leads for $5.
Okay.
Now cut off re-raises to 15. And then goes back to me, and then I re-raised to $30.
Okay. So let's
So
stop right.
basic and
So let's stop right here. So this is truly like a $6 pot, right? Going to the
right.
flop, and you're 700 effective, so you're super deep, right? So I don't mind the plan for you to check raise, because when you are this deep, you definitely do need to do some things to sort of build the pot up. And if you were to just lead, a king would probably just call. So if a king bets off and you check raise, that's great. So plus two bets 5, cutoff raises to 15, and now you min click. Hero goes to 30. I don't mind the play, because I think calling is going to freeze a king a lot, especially on a rainbow board. I would just tend to make it larger here. I mean, it's no limit. I mean, you got to get money in the pot. You were going for a check raise. I probably would have made it at least 55 or 60 here, as opposed to just like going 30. I mean, the goal here is try to get more money into the pot, really, is what I'm thinking here.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, okay, so you go to 30.
And now MP plus two now re-raises me to 90.
So plus 2, who was the initial guy who bet 5.
Correct.
So it's bet raise, check raise 3 bet, 4 bets the flop to 90. Okay. Yep.
Now cutoff folds.
Okay. Cutoff folds. You would imagine the cutoff probably had some sort of king, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And when I put in the re-raise from his 15, I thought it was just going to be me and him heads up, right? So I was kind of a bit, I was on alert when he re-raised me to 90 now. So cutoff folds, and now I re-raise it to 290.
So you 5 bet. So let me check this out. It's a limp pot at this 1-2 matches stack game at MGM Vegas. King 10-7. And the caller and Jenny has bottom set, which she checked. And no one really should have kings or tens here. I mean, it's probably, you'll probably see a lot of people like go for limp re-raises, and maybe some people limp along with tens. But King 10-7, hero checks, plus 2 bets 5, cutoff raises, hero check raises, plus 2, now 4 bets to 90, and hero, it cutoff folds, and now you 5 bet to 290?
Correct.
I think probably, well, I think I would, actually, I think at these levels, it probably doesn't matter. Honestly, I think theoretically, or if you want to even attempt to try to just play like a hair balanced, like, even though it's probably not necessary at this game, you might call here. But at the same time, you just kind of want to get all the money in from King 10. Like, I would never, I just cannot fold bottom set here in these pots where plus 2, who's not even under the gun, where you're concerned about getting overset from King for a limp re-raise. I just can't, I would never fold a hand like this in this setup in this game. There's just too much wacky shit. So if you take out the possibility of folding, then it's just a question of, how do I get the most amount of money in? And one of the small stakes exploits that Crush Live Poker talks about commonly is a lot of times you don't want to give away the betting lead because people will check behind so much. Because if you were to just call the guy's 4 bet, the pot would be like 200 and change, and you check and he somehow checks behind, or you got to do something to take back the betting lead. Because if he bets 100 on the turn and you just call, and then it goes check, and it's a disaster, like if you don't get the money in against King 10. So I haven't even looked at the chat. I don't know if people are flaming you for the 5 bet, but I actually don't think it's that bad at this level to just continue to put money in, because there's no way someone's 4 bet folding. So if you look at the logic of, I'm never folding 7-7, like I'm always getting it in, and someone else is also not ever 4 betting and then folding, then I just want to avoid the scare cards that somehow will not allow me to get all the money in. So with your sizing here, you probably don't have to go as big as 290. You could go to like
Mm-hmm.
220 and then just continue with betting. But I actually don't mind the click back bet. Really, I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So now MP2, middle position +2. Now he Hollywoods for like 2 seconds, and then he jams for his remaining stack, which is 320 for me, more to call.
so he jams
And
for 610,
his remaining. Yeah, correct.
610 total. Well, like I said, Jenny, I mean, there's only the only times where I would ever consider folding a set to somebody in this particular situation is if I knew the guy like the back of my hand. Like there were some guys that I knew. I used to go during the day shift
Mm-hmm.
at the bike in the mid 2000s, where there were a couple guys that would play the day shift that would just always have a higher set here. But I would never have put in the 5 bet though, probably in that spot, because I would have tried to derive like what they had from their action later on and have things shut down. So I can't 5 bet fold here, bottom set at 1-2 at MGM. But I think what's more important about, like I said, I mean, just to take away from this hand is just a little bit pre-flop. And then, what I said about how I like your re-raise here on the flop for the reasons that I stated. What ended up happening?
So after he jammed his stack, I really did tank, and his it's just I tanked because I had to replay all the action, right? His after he jammed his like first I looked at the player. His demeanor just totally changed. Like he just started looking at his watch, started looking up in the ceiling, drinking his tea or whatever. And just the whole entire time, the session, like he was just on his phone. And then I took in consideration that, of course, he's not on pocket kings, because I think that the cutoff when he re-raised to 15 from the $5 bet, he had a king in his hand.
Sure.
So,
Well, there are 4 kings in the deck, but yeah, there's definitely less combos of it for sure. Uh-huh.
right. And then the only hand I put him on exactly is pocket tens, and I could see him limping tens and going and playing it sneakily where he just wanted to flop a set, and then but I don't see him where he's limping kings, so that was out of the picture. King 10 was a possibility too, but from just all the action that I've seen him like in the 4 hours that we played, I just really didn't think he was capable. I couldn't give him credit for King 10 and jamming it, knowing that when he bet 90 and then I re-raised him, and then now he shoves, it was just super strong play. So I actually tanked and I actually folded bottom set. And after I
Wait a
folded,
minute, wait a minute.
he
You
was
fold the 5 bet fold? The 5 bet fold with bottom set at 1-2? At that, you might be the first player in history to play. So did you find out what he had?
yes, I did find out what he had, but I just don't know if he was being truthful about it. So I don't know. So after I folded, he was just like super like shocked that I didn't fold face up though, but I was like, all right, like I'm gonna fold this set. And then he was just like super. It was like more of a reaction where like not that like oh my bluff went through, but it was a reaction more like oh like I wish you did put the money in. I don't know. It was just that reaction that I got, and then because he was just acting super comfortable, and then after I folded, he was just like shocked, like his mind was blown or something. And then it wasn't until after I started racking up where he pulled me aside. He's like that hand I had King 10, and then
Oh
he's
no.
like,
Oh no.
and then he's like, well, he's like, I don't know. He's like, I feel like that play would only work on you because
Oh
I had King
no.
10 and had a blocker. It made sense, his theory. Like he said, I had King 10 and I didn't put you on
Well,
kings, and
I
and he,
mean, he might be talking through that, Jenny. I don't necessarily know.
yeah,
Well, here's the thing. He might have had King 10,
right,
but I don't think that he's
hmm,
thinking he's trying to get you off a 7-7. I
yeah,
don't buy it. But I think what you can take away from this, and I appreciate you calling this one though in, is that sometimes there are hands that are just too good to fold at this level, and especially if you
Mm-hmm.
dismiss king king, once you put somebody on a one square hand, it's pretty tough. And I'm not saying a guy would do this with aces, but I've seen some bizarre shit at the small stakes levels.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate you calling in, and thank you very much, Jenny.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Bart.
All right.